Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Challenger post-race show after the Dover race tonight, where we had a second win by Andrew Fash. But more importantly, we want to introduce everybody to the updated chase standings, told to one of the four drivers that unfortunately will not be moving on to the next round of the chase, and release the top 12 that will be moving on as we talk about each week. So. Welcome to the 2016 Challenger Round post-race show. Again, thanks to Adam de Blasio for his hard work on putting these together. We've got three guests here for you tonight. Brendan Burkroll for the 68 Mountain Dew Chevrolet, Michael Doyle in the 88 Oklahoma University Chevrolet, and then also in a Chevrolet, Nicholas Ward in that 97 machine. So I want to thank those guys for joining us. Let's recap the first round of the chase. Sponsored by 2 to Green. The first race of the season of the chase was the Chad Dillon 200 at Chicagoland. You can see that Matt Busa was your winner there, so somebody outside the chase. Obviously a fast driver, and Matt Busa steals a win there. 7 leaders in that race, only 3 cautions with 12 caution laps. So a lot of fuel strategy and pit strategy played into it. And Michael, you were somebody that maybe didn't have your best race at Chicago. Tell us about the troubles you had there.
Well, Todd, I had some troubles at Chicagoland. Yeah, it was a pretty cruddy race, man. I got caught up in the wrecks, and I really needed a solid finish to start off the chase. And to finish 23rd, you're kind of digging yourself out of a hole. And unfortunately, with the way the field's set up and the competition, there's no way you're going to dig your way out of this with all these other guys in here that are really fierce competitors. You screw yourself on the first round, then you're screwed the whole round. So now we get to play spoiler and try to finish out strong this year.
All right, and you can see on the screen there the rest of the chase finishers and where they finished the race at Chicagoland. Colton Landis had a rebound pretty hard after a 24th place finish. William Dunn finished 26th, last in the chase drivers there at Chicagoland. So a lot of drivers dug themselves in a hole. Doyle wasn't the only one. You see 4 chase drivers outside the top 20 at Chicagoland. And so that really kind of made things pretty interesting as we went to New Hampshire. The Yakes 87 150, sponsored by Joseph Yakes. That's his YouTube channel there. Check that out. At New Hampshire, Andrew Fash won that one with 5 different leaders and 6 lead changes, 6 cautions. A nice long run there the end of the race. Brendan, you unfortunately you see there that you finished 28th at Loudon. Talk to us about the problems you had there at New Hampshire.
Well, basically what happened was when I was trying to join into the race, for some reason the wait button just kept popping up. It wouldn't let me come in. I don't know what the heck happened, but halfway through the race, it decided to show me the race option. New Hampshire ended up being the one race in the chase this year that nobody seemed to have any issues, and they were all solid in the top 20. So just wasn't our race. We tried.
All right, and that had to be disappointing. And then we finished up the first round of the chase with the Suited Pocket Rockets 200 at Dover. Jay Heisman, that's his Twitch channel. Check that out as well. Andrew Fash gets his second win after Colton Landis runs out of fuel coming to, I believe, the white flag with 1 to go. So Andrew Fash gets his second win of the chase. 10 different leaders. We had a lot of green flag racing there towards the end of the race. Kind of a rocky start there at the beginning, but a long green flag race there to the end. And Nick, you came into the race outside looking in to the top 12. Needed a strong run and capitalized tonight. Talk us through your race that you had tonight.
Yeah, tonight was kind of go in it and try and win if we could, but obviously we didn't do that. But basically the goal was to be ahead of Doyle and Dunn and those guys that were behind us, as well as try and finish ahead of Brian Terry, which Brian Terry put up one heck of a fight during the chase and ran good all 3 of the races. But essentially the race was just finish up towards the front. And the last couple laps, I was really concerned that we weren't quite going to make it because we didn't have the position on on Dunn to quite get it through. But worked out in the end, tire strategy and whatnot from the team. Got us all out, and whole team ended up making it in the chase, or to the next round.
All right, and so that kind of wraps up the first three races, and a lot of strategy going into these things. Dole, Ward, Burkhoff were all on the outside looking in, going into the race. Jacob, you were somebody pretty solidly into the second round, but even you had some problems in the race. How much math was that calculator burning as we got to the race tonight at Dover?
Yeah, I right where we were gridding, I got on the track to grid, and my computer decided to say, I don't feel like working right now. I'm going to shut off. So that was interesting. I think there's a lot of people who had a web update, or not a Windows update, excuse me. And I think that affected a lot of people, myself included. So started off 3 laps down and just could never really recover from that. I got caught up in an accident. I thought I would be okay. I knew that 23rd was my cutoff point, and with the accidents that happened earlier in the race, it kind of gave a buffer. So if I finished 24th or 25th, I could probably get away with it, and some really crazy stuff would have to happen in order for me to not make it. But it's definitely not the way I wanted to finish this race. I thought I had a decent car, and you want to keep the momentum going, so you don't want to kind of back your way into the next round, but we'll take it any way we can get it too. So hopefully, as we'll talk about the upcoming races here in a little bit, hopefully we'll kind of regain some traction and keep moving on, survive and advance.
And survive and advance, 12 of us did, 4 of us did not. So let's give everybody the up-to-date, finalized. Adam de Blasio has been doing, you can see he's still working down there at the bottom of the screen trying to get this ready for everybody. So let's give everybody the finalized chase standings. Andrew Fayez, your points leader with the 2 wins there. And I know immediately everyone goes to the back 6 or so to see who made it in. Cody Smith and Nicholas Ward end up tied for 11th. Looks like Cody Smith had the tiebreaker there and gives him the 11th place position. Nicholas Ward clear by 3 points over Brendan Burkhoff, so that Dover trouble that Brendan had really kind of comes back on him. William Dunn, I believe a finalist last year at Homestead, doesn't make the second round of the chase. Michael Dole, 7 points back, and then Brian Terry in 16th, 10 points back. Dole, you got to be disappointed. You raced all season. You get that win late in the year and end up not making the second round of the chase.
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of goals this year. I honestly don't think I had a shot of winning a championship just because the competition's so close. But because this is kind of my first year coming back, I really just kind of wanted to get together with all the guys and just show that, I can maintain a clean race and not cause too many issues, and actually worked out in the end making the chase for my first year back, so I'm thrilled with that. And now we got a couple of good tracks coming up, Charlotte, Texas, definitely, that I love. So we'll go out there, try to win a couple extras for the end of the year here.
All right, Brendan, you were just on the outside looking in. I know you had a good race tonight at Dover. You led a lot of laps and were up front all race. Did you think you maybe had a shot there in that last 50 laps?
Yeah, I actually, to be honest with you, I was doing the points all race, and I totally forgot about Ward right at the end. I thought I had a chance at it. I thought I had it, and then I looked back one more time at my phone, and I saw that he had it over me. But I knew I had to go up there and stay as high as I could in the standings just to see what I could do, and that's what I did. So I'm happy with that.
All right, and Nick, you come all the way from the bottom of the chase grid after that first race at Chicagoland where you had some problems, and then actually fight all the way back both at Loudon here at Dover tonight. So how excited are you to make the final 12 as you try to hunt down that championship?
Well, it's definitely a relief to actually make it into the final 12. We just put ourselves in such a hole with computer issues at Chicagoland and all sorts of issues, and we made it, and we're looking forward to getting out there and trying to win this championship. Don't know if we quite have what it takes on speed to win the championship, but definitely gives us a little bit more of a boost looking forward into these last 6-7 races of the season.
All right, so let's go ahead and preview the contender round, which is the second round of the 2 to Green chase. Everyone, this is important, everyone resets to 3,000 points. The top 12, I should say, resets to 12 points. So everyone's on equal footing going into the second round. Even though Fayesh gets 2 wins in the first round, that does not carry over to the second round. So he's on equal footing with everybody else as we start the contender round. Our first race of the contender round will be the TODD. That's my Twitch channel there, 250 at Charlotte. I had a pretty decent race at Charlotte back in I guess that would be the spring. Led a lot of laps, tried to stay out and stretch that last fuel run a little bit, and ran out of gas with 1 to go and ended up finishing 8th. Adam, you actually got a strong Adam's actually been doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and we're thankful that he's been doing that, but he's actually finished up on that. Adam, you had a good run at Charlotte, finishing 4th there. Is that a place where you think you can maybe get a win here in the contender round?
I don't know about a win, but Charlotte is one of my favorite tracks. I do tend to perform the best at the 1.5-mile racetracks, and this round has 2 of those, so I'm really looking forward to this round.
All right, our second race is the Pro Paints and Pro Paint Accessories 200 at Kansas, presented by the lovely Tyler Herr, and we want to thank him for the dedication that he showed in putting that beautiful piece of artwork together for everybody. You can see the results from Kansas earlier this year. Brian Terry got his win, which locked him into the chase. I finished 6th there. Matt Bontempi 8th. A lot of decent finishes. We had a lot of trouble there in the spring. 5 fewer somebody that was involved in that early incident. You can see a lot of the drivers that are in the chase had problems. Is Kansas a place where you think you can rebound from that 30th place finish here in the fall?
Well, if I don't, I'm in trouble, aren't I? If I remember correctly, there's a lot of stuff that went on in that race towards the early portion of it, and kind of made for a long night as far as I was concerned. Definitely going to be interesting with the new surface model. Hopefully that'll kind of widen the lane out a little bit, because if you're not careful, you can definitely get caught up in other people's junk with being stuck on the high line. So hopefully, we'll be able to come out with a little better result and put ourselves in position to just make it to the next round. That's the motto for me, basically, for the chase until we get to around Phoenix, is just survive in advance.
All right, and the final race of the chase, or the contender round of the chase, is the Chris Schisler 250 at Talladega. Probably going to be some butts puckering up as we go to Talladega. Tyler Herr, who won the Daytona 500, finished 3rd. He was the top finishing chase driver there. Nick, you finished in the top 5 there at Talladega there in the spring. Is going to be a tough little race. Restrictor plate racing is always going to be a stressful situation. How do you attack it knowing that something like Talladega, a true wild card, is going to be the final race of the round?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be different, especially this time around with it being the chase, and knowing anybody can win it. I feel like those teams that have multiple drivers in the chase are going to be working really hard to help their teammates and try and stay up towards the front. But when it all boils down to it, it's going to be fight for yourself, and you might have to ditch a teammate. You might not, depending on where you're sitting in the chase standing. So it'll be interesting.
All right, our next slide here, Adam de Blasio, you put a lot of work into this slideshow. I want to thank you for that. Tell us what we're looking at here in the Elite 8 slide.
All right, so if you notice on the previous 3 slides, I had everyone's finish from the previous race here. So what I did was I put all of those finishes into Excel and did an average function on them. And I found out who would be have the best average finishing position based on the earlier spring races at Charlotte, Kansas, and Talladega. And what I found was Matt Bontempi, Ward's teammate, actually has the best average finish based on this prior year's finishing positions at those 3 tracks, followed by Tyler Herr, Todd Thomas, and Andrew Fayesh in 4th. So based on numbers alone, Along with those 4 drivers, myself, Fife, Ward, and Hudson would be the other 4 joining those top 4 drivers into the chase solely based on numbers and averages. But there's a reason why they run the race.
Absolutely. So just to throw this back up on the screen there, so everybody can get a look at it. What you're looking at there is every chase driver's average performance at these 3 racetracks of the contender round back in the spring. So as Adam just explained, Matt Bontempi had the highest average finish. Tyler Hare there is in second. Yours truly in third. I think everybody knows the 1.5 miles is something that I pretty much excel at. So tracks like Charlotte and Kansas are some of my better tracks. As we look at this, you kind of treat Talladega as an outlier. Jacob, you're somebody that's in this round. Talladega is a wild card, but it's really a round where the 1.5 miles are probably going to be the best place to separate yourself. And you're somebody that's typically known as a short track driver a little bit more than the 1.5 miles. So how do you try to improve that program here in the second round of the chase?
Just remain consistent. I think I have enough consistency to move along in the next round. Talladega is always the wild card. If things play out like they did back in July at Daytona, I feel very confident that between myself and my teammates that we'll do all right as a group. Obviously, William isn't transferring on to the next round, but James and I still have a shot at it, and I'm sure if we execute the way we did in July, I don't think we'll have any problems at all at Talladega. As far as the 1.5 mile program goes, Kansas is going to be the most difficult track. Charlotte, I usually run pretty well at, so I'm not too terribly worried as long as I keep the fenders clean. And Kansas, we'll just have to manage as best we can and see what we can make of it.
All right, and that kind of wraps up our recap of the first round of the chase as we look forward to the second round of the chase. Obviously, Andrew Fash has got to be your odds-on favorite right now. If we talked about people that are the favorites to make it to Homestead and be your championship contenders, because he's already won 2 races in the chase and he's dominated much of the season. But let's go around the row here a little bit from left to right and ask our panel here. If you had to go with one driver other than Andrew Fash, who you think makes his way to the championship here at Homestead, who you got? So let's start with Adam, who's put in so much work with the slideshow. We want to thank him again. Adam, one driver besides Andrew Fash that's going to make it to Homestead and win that championship. Who you got?
In the beginning, on the first show, I said Tyler Herr. I'm going to stick with Tyler Herr. He's consistent and he's fast, and I truly think it's his year.
Tyler's had a great season so far. Brendan Burkroff, unfortunately eliminated from the first round of the chase. 2 questions, I guess. How do you go about these next, let's see, 7 races? Does it change the way you drive, or you just go out there balls to the wall and try to get wins, or do you just try to get consistent finishes? And then 2, who do you got in Homestead in the championship?
First, I'm definitely going out. There's no point for me to hold back anything at this point. It's about building momentum, and so I'm going to go out there and see what I could do. Hopefully, maybe win a race or 2. I'm usually pretty decent at the super speedways. And number 2, I'm going to have to go with my the guy I've been running Rookie of the Year all year with. I'm going to go with Adam. I think Adam can do it.
Adam's had a very consistent, quiet finish. He's pretty excited to hear that somebody's going to pick him to win the championship. Jacob Fife, if it's not Andrew Fash, who's it going to be?
I think you have 2 other guys who have really been solid the whole season. One of them, Adam mentioned, and Tyler. I think he's shown the consistency and the speed to be able to do it. And then watching the end of the race, my jaw kind of dropped when Colton was out of gas there on the last lap. So I think if he's able to not make those kind of mistakes, which didn't cost him that much tonight, but could later on, I think he has a real chance. He's shown the speed and shown the ability to get multiple wins, which he did in the regular season. So I think those are definitely 2 drivers who are in the hunt to make it all the way.
Dole, let's ask you the same two questions that we asked Vernon there. You're known as one of the more aggressive guys, and I think that that aggressiveness might tick up when you don't have so much to lose here in the next 7 races. Are you win or go home mode? And then the second question is, who do you have in the championship?
I think your Homestead drivers are going to be Andrew, Tyler, Matt, and Colton. I think those are going to be your final 4. If you're not counting Andrew for the finish at Homestead, if Colton can maintain and not run out of gas, I think he's your winner this year.
All right, and Nick Ward, besides yourself and your teammate Andrew Fash, let's hear who you think might be in your final 4.
Honestly, I'm gonna have to go with Jacob and probably Colton. 2 of them have been running strong most of the season. When Jacob can stay out of my trouble, he runs pretty good. So hopefully we can stay out of each other's way the rest of this year and both go on towards Chase. But I think Fash doesn't get it. My bet's on Fife. Fife was up there running for it last year.
All right, and since no one picked Todd Thomas, I'm going to say Todd Thomas is going to win the championship there at Homestead and kind of sneak up on everybody. You never know what might happen. So that's going to wrap up our show. Thanks for everybody for joining us tonight. We want to thank all of our guests. Thanks to Adam de Blasio for putting in a ton of work on the Excel spreadsheets and the chase grid. Jacob had to do a lot of work immediately after the race. They've got me laughing, and I apologize. But Jacob had to do a lot of work immediately after the race to update the standings as well. So thanks to all of our guests. Thanks to everybody that tuned in. We're going to see you Monday. We will not do a show on Thursday night. This suffices our shows for the week. So no show this Thursday. We'll see you next Monday night at Charlotte. So hope to see you then. Have a good night.